Oh, hey there, guys. What's up, guys? It's Pascal with ALF Boss, and I was taking care of a little business real quick here. But today we're going to do a show on bed bugs and ALFs. Whew. Let me take this off for a minute here. Oh, man. Whew. Yep, bed bugs. Let's talk about them, as they are a big deal when it comes to ALFs. First of all, what are bed bugs? Well, there's those little creepy critters that you hear about that usually like to hang out on beds and like to bite during the night and take a little bites out of people's skin because they do feed off of blood. Now, there are some misconceptions I feel about bed bugs, as they do not carry any disease, any form of disease, so they cannot transmit any kind of diseases. They are compared to mosquitoes, they're almost not as bad as mosquitoes and other insects and bugs. But since they are creepy and they like to bite you in your bed, which a bed is supposed to be a safe place, you can lay your head and you don't have to worry about getting bit in the middle of the night and getting woken up. They do get that stigmatism attached to them that they are ill. Now, another thing I want to talk about is when it comes to bed bugs, there is a misconception attached to them, which means that if you have them, it's because you're dirty, your place is dirty, either if you get them at home or especially in a facility. If someone hears that there's bed bugs at a facility, oh my God, that place must be a dump. That place is horrible. It's, the rumors that just fly around that go along with that. I think a lot of it's unfair. It's not because the place is dirty. Dirtiness has absolutely nothing to do with it. Okay? So let's talk about how bed bugs can get into your ALF. Well, if let's say you have a new resident moving in, you can get bed bugs in your facility brought into your facility. Let's say they have a purse that's carrying some bugs on it and they bring it into your facility, into home, you've now got bed bugs. If they bring any furniture from home that has bed bugs, you now have bed bugs. If they bring any hospital bed, things like that, that has bed bugs, guess what? Your facility now has some bed bugs. So let's look at some bed bugs first up here on the screen. We're going to look at from the egg to, as they grow along, all the way to adulthood. Okay? As you can see, they are pretty little nasty looking critters. They're yucky. They're pretty small. They're usually like a brownish color with a roundish shell once they're fully grown. If they are blown up in a dark color, it means they have been feeding, which means they are full of blood and they have bit somebody along the line. So I want to get that misconception out there. If you have a facility that has bed bugs, or you, God forbid, happen to get the bed bugs, it does not mean that your facility is dirty. It doesn't mean that you are a bad facility. Same thing when I hear these stories about hotels and cruise ships. Guess what? People are bringing those on. Those are not born out of the air in hotels and on cruise ships. So that is a big misconception. And if you get bit by a mosquito, it's a lot higher risk of you getting all kinds of silly diseases that mosquitoes cover. So let's move on with what you can do to protect your ALF from not getting bed bugs, which that is the number one thing that you can do to not get them. So my suggestions, when you get new residents coming in, I highly recommend that you don't allow them to bring any furniture from home. This is a big factor that bring bed bugs into facilities. The next thing is limiting if they have a lot of bags they're bringing in. Sometimes residents come, like they were hoarders at home and they're bringing all these plastic bags in with a bunch of stuff in them. I would try to stay away from that also. When a resident moves in, it is a good idea to take all their clothing and put them in the dryer. Let that run for a little while. Heat does kill the bed bugs. The dryer will eliminate them. I do suggest that step. Let me see what else. Same thing when you get DME deliveries. This is a big factor also to bring bed bugs into your facility. So it's not just residents that can bring them in. I have seen DME companies spread a bed bug infestation through a whole county at one point a few years back. That equipment is used most of the time. You know, your hospice beds they bring in, things like that, rented hospital beds, even sometimes if there's rented wheelchairs, things like that. Those usually have been in other facilities, and if that facility had bed bugs and they caught a ride on that hospital bed and now it's brought into your facility, guess what? Your facility now has bed bugs. So I highly recommend when you get these DME beds delivered equipment, either inspect them with a magnifying glass as close as you can or spray them down with some kind of bed bug spray, just for precaution. Because once they get in, they are the devil, let me tell you. Bed bugs are very hard to treat. They're very hard to get rid of. It takes months and months. If you do it properly, they can stick around for as long as 7 months. So what I recommend is you teach your staff how to be on the lookout for bed bugs. You need to show them what they look like, where they might be. A lot of times, if bed bugs are feeding, they immediately will, well, not vomit. They will poop, according to research, pretty instantly, and they leave a pretty nice little yucky mess over the sheets or whatnot. Almost looks like someone would smush a bug, but that's actually them taking a number 2. So if your staff sees that, they need to notify you right away. Once you have identified that, yes, we have a bed bug problem, I suggest that you get with an exterminator company as soon as you can. Now, this is where it gets tricky, people. These exterminator companies make a fortune. They will rip you off. They will bleed you dry worse than the bed bugs. They will charge some of them as high as $1,000 per treatment, per room. Don't get burned. Do your research. I highly suggest that you go with a company that only offers a follow-up plan, meaning they have some kind of plan after that you could pay a monthly fee, and they come once a month and they follow up. You know, they'll spray, but you have to pay them again, of course, but they will also do follow-ups for free. So let's say you come in one morning to a room that was treated and eggs have hatched that day and the bed bugs are all over again. You can call them and they will come in and spray for free as included in their service. So you need to shop that around. The big name companies, I'm not going to name them, the ones we're familiar with, they will rip you off to the ground. You will end up spending thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and your problem will still not be solved. So a lot of times the little local people, your local pest exterminators, they're more honest, they're more willing to work with you, they're not there to rip you off. I suggest you call some of those companies as the big boys. They know this is a big money maker. They know that they spray once, the bed bugs will definitely not go away. Bed bugs are going to stick around for months to come. So, once you found out you have the bed bugs, you get your exterminator, and then you need to follow your policy and procedures for bed bugs. Yes, you should have a policy for bed bugs for your facility. I highly recommend it. I'm not going to say it's bound to happen one of these days, but chances are high that it might pop up one day. So you want to be ready and have a policy and procedures in place. Now, along with that policy and procedure, you also need a plan. If it does happen, you need a plan and a follow-up plan to follow. So what steps are you going to take once the problem is identified? Of course, you're going to have to relocate that resident to another room, which I suggest that This is very important. You do this very carefully. Don't move a bunch of the residents' valuables. Leave the furniture in there. A lot of times the furniture is infected or it's a bad infestation. I highly recommend just throwing that stuff out. You're better throwing out an old dresser than having to continue fighting this over and over. But you're going to have to wash and dry all the residents' clothes, all the linens. You're going to have to relocate them to another room until the treatment is completed. Because the resident has to stay usually out of that room for like 24 hours once the exterminator does come and spray. Now, in your bed bug plan, you're going to need to identify all these things. How the bugs were found, what was the steps taken. You have to name all these steps that you did, move the resident, had the room sprayed, wash the clothing, got rid of items. Whatever steps you took, put them into your plan and document them. All right. So, in that plan, it's very important that you do follow-ups as well. So let's say you sprayed, you need to document, okay, the next day we went looking for the bugs, no bugs found, or 2 bugs found, or whatever happened. And then from there, if you did find more bugs, again, what's the new procedures that you did? You sprayed the room again, on and on and on until it is pretty resolved that the infestation is very minimum. So this depends on the size of the infestation. Sometimes if you're not aware of it, you have a major infestation and this could take a lot longer until that resident can go back into the room. Now, I also suggest that you check the immediate rooms next door to that room, because what the bed bugs do, they do go through the outlets in the walls and they will transfer to the rooms next door. So it's very important that you go and check out and see if there is infestation in your rooms next door. Your exterminator company should be knowledgeable. They should spray in the outlet areas and things like that. Mention it to them just in case they need to have their memory refreshed. Sometimes people do. So again, very important that you have your plan documented so you can show it to ACA. Like I said, they are a lot more educated now than they were back in the days. They were like threatening to close you down and stuff like that for the bed bugs. A lot more research has been done. They know how hard it is to get rid of these pests, so they will work with you as long as you can show in documentation that you are taking steps to correct the issue. So, let's see. Now, in your plan, I do highly recommend to do this step or you will have a hard time getting rid of these bastards, sorry. You need to have your maintenance man, or if this is your facility, if you're the owner and you're small facility and you kind of do stuff hands-on, you're going to need to combat them on your own daily also. And you're going to have to work with your staff. So if the staff sees 1 or 2, you go and get your spray and you go ahead and spray down the beds and follow the proper procedures and fight them also. This is a really important step to follow to win the war. This is a war. It's going to be one step at a time. You're not going to get rid of these things overnight or in a day or in a week. But if you fight them also, you will have much higher successful rates. So what I did one time at a facility is I followed the exterminator and I got the name of what they were using. So I Googled it and I found that it is available for purchase online or in stores. And so I purchased the materials that the actual exterminators are using, so I don't have to pay the high charges and all that good stuff. I highly recommend that you use Temprid. This will help you combat on a daily basis, which this is a really important step. If you don't do this step, have your maintenance person do this step or yourself do this step. Your chances of winning this war are very slim if you're just relying on the pest control company. So, a disclaimer with this chemical, whichever ones you guys do purchase, if you do this part, read the label, make sure you follow all procedures, wear all safety precautions, the goggles and all that good stuff, and make sure you take residents out of the room. No one has access to the room, staff, residents, or anyone of that nature. Follow the directions, read the label, read it 2 or 3 times, make sure you are following it to the T please. So like I said, it could take up to 7 months, depending on how big the infestation is, how fast you did catch it. But if you do this, it should be around 7 months. But the biggest way that I recommend to get rid of bed bugs is to not have bed bugs. So we go back to the beginning steps, which were when new residents come in, throw the personal clothes in the dryer. Don't allow furniture if possible. If you do, inspect it with a magnifying glass. But these bad boys can hide really well, so they are hard to find. Same thing with DME deliveries. If for when the beds and things, the used items do get delivered, inspect them to the T. Even spray them down with that spray I was talking about, just to be precautious, because these bad boys are a pain in the butt. So prevention is the major key. If you have found bed bugs, very important, examine your residence. And usually it'll be, red spots, little bumps, similar to mosquito bites a little bit, but they might have started scratching them. Contact their doctor, family, of course, let them know what's going on. Doctor will probably prescribe some cream, anti-itch cream, things of that nature. That's pretty much for that. Also, wheelchairs. I almost forgot. Sometimes, you have these residents who have these cushions in their wheelchair and they've built like a whole fort in there. Bed bugs love to live in those things. So please monitor those as well. Try to get as much clutter out of those wheelchairs, especially if bed bugs have been found in the room. I would just toss all those cushions that they have out, order new ones, spray the wheelchairs down as best as you can with spray, with the exterminator company also, because they love to live on those wheelchairs just like they do the beds. I also highly recommend mattress covers. With these mattress covers, the bed bugs cannot actually crawl onto the mattress and bite the residents, which I suggest, everybody should probably have these covers on their mattresses. I know when the health department goes around checking, if they see you have those covers, they usually don't even bother to really check very hard because they know the residents are not in danger in that case. Those are pretty inexpensive and they're a great way to be precautious. So we went over having a bed bug policy. We went over having an action plan. What else? Pretty much. Make sure you shop your exterminator company for some kind of deal that they can do free callbacks if you pay for like a monthly service for them to come and spray for the bed bugs. So ladies and gentlemen, I know it was a little quick, a lot to go over, but I want to hold you guys up. I know you're busy in your facilities, but bed bugs are the devil, and I just want to be helpful. So I'm going to get back to work here, spraying these bugs, but keep them out of your facility, people. That's the key, because it doesn't look good. People start spreading rumors, and of course, like I said, unfortunately, people think if you have bed bugs, it's because your facility is dirty or it's a dump or whatever, and none of that is true. We have great facilities. I've seen them enter into beautiful facilities. It's part of the business. It happens. Just take your steps, document, follow your plans, do what you got to do. And I wish you guys the best and have a great day and see you next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.